Hey ladies, welcome back to the podcast, We Age Graceful. Ladies, okay, I don't know where to start, but I asked, this is, if you're new, hey, welcome. My name is Kelly, and I'm the host of the podcast, We Age Graceful. I am so excited today. I just want to jump right in. I didn't want to waste any time. I want to get into talking about 5 tips for reinventing yourself in your 40s. So let's start off with how we got to even talking about this. I have a YouTube channel. It's called iamKeliB, and I talk about beauty and lifestyle. Mainly beauty. I do vlogs and stuff, but for the most part, it's just pretty much beauty. So I asked everyone in my community, I put in the community tab, like, what do you want to talk about? What are some things? A lot of people from my beauty channel don't really follow my podcast. So I wanted to kind of bring them into the mix of what we got going on over here. And I asked them, what are some things that you would like to talk about as a woman over 40? Things that are really, channeling you right now, and things that you just want to address, if you can. So I gave, I think, 3 to 4 options. And one of the options was starting over. And the other ones were mindfulness and motivation. And the other one was just aging graceful. Like just, us aging graceful, keeping up with our beauty routine and things of that nature. So I pretty much said, okay, Kelly, you got this. Put your thinking cap on. This is your forte. Starting over. I am not an individual where I feel like, when you get to a certain point in life, you got it all together. No. Should you know some things? Yes. Should some things be sometimes common sense? Some things. But it all depends. There's no book roadmap of life. You know what I mean? Things change. And one thing we have to know how to do is be adaptable. And that's one thing I tell you when you're in a job. Be flexible, be adaptable. Work with what's going on. Go with the flow, all the things. Do the same thing with your life. Because if you stay the same, you will never grow. So here we are. I'm rambling now. See? So I want to talk about 5 tips for reinventing yourself in your 40s. Sometimes people feel like when you get to your 40s and you get to midlife, it's like you've lost your mojo, or you've hit like rock bottom. Life is over. No. It's just another, I don't want to go up like we're going up and we're going down a hill. No, life is peaks and valleys like this. Peaks and valleys. So we're going to reinvent ourselves. We're going to be our best self. And we're in a new era right now. So, even though I'm in my late 40s, we're talking about how to reinvent ourselves in our 50s soon. But we're going to focus on the 40s. And if you're not 40, if you're in your 50s, if you're in your 60s, or even if you're in your 30s, these tips can still apply. Just apply it to your age group. It doesn't even matter. We are midlife. So, I'm a firm believer. 35 is midlife because it all depends on your family's, how do you say it? DNA, if you will. Everybody lives different lives. You know what I mean? You can get to 60 and we may not be here no more. God forbid. We may be at our 70s. 80s. It all depends. So I say roughly around 30, 35 to, the 40s considered like midlife. And 50s too. That's if your family folks are living to 100. That's your midlife. But roughly around there. All depends. That's how I look at it. So first up, let's just get a little introduction going on. Things I want to highlight and all the things like that. So first off, this is the best time of your life. Okay? Don't ever feel like you're in your 40s and it's like life is over. It's just beginning. Okay? Life is getting real good right now. I want to say in my early 40s, I was just in a place. I was in a place, then pandemic came, and I got to my mid 40s during the pandemic, and here I am in my late 40s, and the pandemic is over. We're coasting out, but don't feel pressure by external factors. Like do you we're gonna get into that. We are gonna get into it. So first up, the The first tip to reinventing yourself and pretty much like starting over, new you, new everything, is to reflect and redefine. And it's like, why? Why do you want to reinvent yourself, if you will? Why do you want to start over? What are some things that's troubling you? What are some things that's bothering you? And some things that you want to like remove from your life, some things you want to put in your life. Think about that. Reflect where you are and what's going on. Think about your career, your relationships, and your passions. And I'm going to throw myself in there. I'm going to throw myself in here in a lot of these topics because I'm going to use myself as an example. Like I mentioned, I have another channel. I want to pivot so bad, but I am afraid to pivot. But I'm going to force myself to pivot. And that's for one of my passions, meaning my YouTube channel. I want to pivot so bad. I'm going to get into that later about what I want to pivot to. But sometimes we get so stuck and feeling like if we change, it's going to mess up something and so forth and so on. But change is good sometimes. Sometimes you just have to like just step out the box and be like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. And I don't care what nobody say. And that's another thing. Do not worry about what somebody else has to say about you. Do you? Because that's something that I had a problem with. I always was worrying about what somebody had to say about me, or what would they think, or whatever the case may be. And as I'm getting older, nobody freaking cares. People have their own lives that they're living, and people are busy. Okay? So do you. So why reflection is important? Reflection is important because it makes you look at your past experiences, your achievements, and your challenges. And you just want to ask yourself, what have I learned so far? What, fulfills me now? So you want to reflect. You want to see where you are, what's going on, what you've done, what kind of groundwork have you laid down, okay? So we got to reflect and we got to redefine, okay? Redefining can look something like this, okay? It's okay to shift your careers. It's okay to shift your passions. It's okay to even shift in relationships. That can be friendships. That can be family. That can be co-workers. That can just be any kind of relationship. It's okay to shift. Sometimes we get caught up in, in like families and friends. You can shift in friendships. You can shift with family. It's okay. And I had a tough time with that. I had a tough time with wanting to shift and make new friends. I felt like the friends I had was enough. But at the end of the day, they shift too. They make new friends. We all make new friends. And it's okay to, reflect on all different areas of your life. It's okay. So, in addition to shifts in careers, relationships, and passions, how to create a new vision of this chapter. How do you see yourself? Where do you want yourself to be? And I don't like to go out too far and do like 10 years or 5 years. Where do you see yourself in the next year? 6 months to a year. I think that's a good space to kind of sit and say, I want to be intentional about making adult friends. I want to be intentional about starting a new career path. I may want to go back to school. I may want to pretty much focus on myself. Hey, sometimes life changes and you so bad, you might want to get into a different relationship. You already know how that goes. So just reflect and redefine. You know how that go. So I pretty much gave you an example of me, friends wanting to pivot in, YouTube and wanting to just do so many different things. I'm like multifaceted. I just want to do so much. My brain is racing, but I have to sit back and say sometimes, Kelly, chill out. Do one thing at a time. You don't got to do it all. You can get to it, but just do one thing at a time. So for me is me looking at my life, seeing where I'm at now, I'm pretty happy. I'm grateful. I have to always remind myself to stay grateful for where I am today. But as me moving in to my 50s, I really want to redefine so much when it comes to my career. I don't want to work forever. I don't. So how can I do early retirement? What did that look like for me? You know what I mean? I mentioned about, adult friends and being very intentional about friendships. And then my passions. My passions is like, what do I want? What do I want to start doing? Like, let me tell you something. I was thinking about pottery. Girl, I don't even want to get into it. I don't want to get into it. But let's get into tip number 2 because we're going to be here for a little bit. Okay? Tip number 2 is to embrace change with confidence. We are going through a change. We are women. Not only are we changing in age, our bodies is changing. Perimenopause, menopause. Like me, I went through a hysterectomy. Our bodies is changing. Some of us are still having children. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just do it with confidence and just, move on. Like, just move on and just tend to yourself. So I pretty much went a little bit ahead of myself. I talked about like facing fears and things like that. Addressing fears women over 40 may have in the change of life. So, some women feel like, when they get to a certain age, they can't have kids anymore. They may feel less of a woman, that reproductive system thing. No, you are more woman than anything. I can't have kids anymore. My reproductive system is gone. It is gone. Do I feel less than a woman? No, I do not. If anything, I feel more woman because I ain't got to deal with that. I ain't got to think about that anymore. I can focus on me. I'm just living my best life. I don't got to worry about getting no pads, no liners, no tampons, whatever the case may be. That's gone. Living my life. So I want you to do the same too. I want you to live your life. Don't feel like because you're getting older, you're less than, or you're not a woman or whatever. You are more than enough. You are that woman. Okay. Now let me get on you. So being in this tip right here, like I want to say it again, embrace change with confidence. Always know it's never too late to change, reinvent yourself, and you can do it more than once in the same go round. Okay. Prime example. I was at a space where I was feeling good about myself, and then I was just going through it with my menstruals, and I felt like, God, why am I going through this? Why me? Then I'm like, you know what? Why not me? You know what I mean? Things just happen. And then I was going through a change at that moment where I was like, you know what? I don't care about these menstruals. I'm just going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to just be my best self. But then it took a toll on me, and then I had to go to the doctor and do all the things. But let me tell you something. Once I went through that little hump, I pretty much said, Kelly, it's time for you to make change. Make change. Reevaluate yourself. Do not get into a slump with this hysterectomy. You're going to have to become that woman now, because now you got to think differently. Your body's going to talk to you differently, and you can't let your body take you down. In addition to life, your job, your children, your spouse, or just your significant other, whomever you may dating if you're not married. You know what I mean? So you have to always stay on top of you, no matter what. There was a time in my life where, I think I mentioned this in one of my podcasts before, one of my episodes, where, there was one point in my life where I did center men. Like the guy that I was dating at the time, I centered him. And I look at myself now and where I am, I decenter men. Like, and I sit back and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known how to do that back then. But let me tell you something. I'm kind of happy I went through that at that time, because now here I am at this big age and I'm really feeling good about myself. I'm so confident. I'm in a space where it's about me. It's about me. I want to share that piece with you because I wanted you to know that you are everything. You are everything. So, what are some practical tips of building your confidence? Okay, I got a few down here. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Take small steps towards big goals. So, prime example, here we're reinventing ourselves. Some of us might want to shed a few pounds. Hey, if you are not following me, I'm going to share my journey in regards to how my weight gain has gotten out of control after my hysterectomy. And I'm going to share that, and we're going to go on this journey together. So I hope you will follow me on my main channel, because I have to share. I know I'm not the only one going through it. I really haven't seen many videos on it about the weight gain with hysterectomy, but I have to share mine because I know I ain't the only one. But my big goal is to shed these 10 pounds and almost 15 pounds, shed it, because I think I'm pretty much being hard on myself, and I have to really take small steps. And one thing was, I took the coffee away, I took the alcohol away. Now it's me cleaning up my diet. My diet is not bad, but it could be better. I still cook at home, but it's pretty much just being better. Surround yourself with people who support your reinvention. Hey, new circle, like-minded people. You have to do it. And not that you have to be around people that's not reinventing themselves, no. But just people who are supportive in what you have going on. You know what I mean? You have to make sure that you, again, be very intentional. Very intentional. Okay. So I want to share something with you. I want to share with you how, building your confidence, doing little small things will build your confidence. So for me, it's, I'm not a fashion girly by any means, but I do like to look nice, be put together. I stay in my lane when it comes to clothes, because I like to wear what's comfortable to me. I like to stay in the affordable side. I'm not a collector of clothes by any means. That is not my jam. But I did try a new style of clothing, wearing more slacks, tailored pants, things like that, with more button-up shirts. Over the weekend, my aunt had her 80th birthday party, and I wore a button-up shirt. That's normally not my style, at all. But I want to try something new, a new look, so I wore a nice button-up shirt. I did have on some leggings with some little heels. I gave it, my cousin called it the Audrey Hepburn look. That's how I had it. But I wanted to just channel something different that I normally don't do, and it gave me so much confidence. So I want you to kind of step out the box, do something that will help you move forward and build your confidence. I hope I'm getting to you. I hope I am. Leave something in the comments and say, Kelly, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Okay? Let me know. Okay. So I want to share with you there's so many different ways on how you can have confidence and reinvent yourself. I think reinvention is to do with all of the inside. And once you figure out on the inside, it will exude. Mindset. I have a girlfriend who, she wanted to change jobs, and she wanted to jump into a different career path. And you guys know, I've shared several times how I moved up in my organization. And it can be scary, because not only are you going against people that you actually work with, but you're going against people that's outside, outside of your organization. You're not the only one that's, that know it all. Other people know the same thing, just do it somewhere else. You know what I mean? So I had to explain to her, just do it. Even if you don't get the job, do your resume over, apply for the job, go for the interview. You're going to get the interview. She got the interview. And that alone built her confidence. She didn't get the job, but that right there, just doing something, stepping out your comfort zone, will definitely boost your confidence. You have to do things out of your comfort zone, and that will help you just like reinvent yourself. You just want to become someone else, not someone that you are portraying, someone that is you, your inner you. Bring her out. Bring her out. Tip number 3, which is one of my faves, is self-care and well-being. Y'all, I tell you, I always have to bring back the pandemic. I feel like, I know it is not just me, but the pandemic really shined light on what I was not doing for myself and what I was doing for others, suppressing my needs and my wants and giving everybody their needs and their wants. And I did break. I had quite a few breaks during the pandemic. Them first 2 years really rocked my world. But some self-care essentials for you is to exercise. Your girl is in the gym. I'm going to get into that too because exercise, nutrition, and sleep habits. Y'all, if you don't have good sleep, you're not going to be good for nobody. You ever felt, let me get it right. Like you went to sleep, you slept all night, but you wake up and you're still tired. Think about all the things that you've been thinking about all day long. You know what I mean? All the things you've been dealing with for months. That's weighing on you. You have to let some of that go. Oh my God. Okay. Mental. Meditation, mindfulness, journaling to clarify your goals and to clarify your mind. I am going to get into all this later because I can't put everything, all in one. But we're going to break these things down piece by piece because I really want to get into mindfulness for us. Because at one point, I was really heavy with mindfulness and it was really helping me. And it still helps me today in my therapy. And I want to also pour into you so it can help you because let me tell you something. A worried mind is a horrible heart. Because sometimes you do things unintentionally you don't even realize you're doing because your mind is just all over the place. And even reverse it. If your heart is hurting, your mind start wondering. You ever thought about that? Like, emotional. So these are just I'm giving you types of self-care for us women in over our 40s who are in our midlife. So we went over physical, exercise, nutrition, sleep habits, mental, to meditation, mindfulness, journaling, emotional. Therapy, personal growth books, spiritual practices. We're not gonna get too far into like religion and things like that, but I definitely want to get into just having faith and whatever that might be for you, because we're all different. We all, grew up differently. We all have different backgrounds, but just still have that faith. You know what I mean? Personal growth books. I love them. I really love them. In therapy, you guys know I am a firm believer in therapy. I've been going to therapy since 2020. We're in 24, approaching 25. Your girl don't play about it. I don't play about it. I'm on a regimen now where I'm going once a month. And this past session that I had, which was last week, I had an amazing session. Amazing session. And this is being transparent. I cried this last session. And it made me feel so good. When I got off of that session, I do mine via Zoom. I felt so renewed. So renewed. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to reinvent yourself. It's going to be, get a whole new wardrobe outfit, go get your hair cut, get your nails done. No. More of it is to do with you on the inside. I'm so telling you. I will not lie to you. I will not lie to you. You will speak different. You'll walk different. You'll glow different. And of course, you're going to kind of like fall off a little bit. We're human. But it's a you got to keep going. You got to keep doing it. Keep doing it. Think about the energy we put into these jobs that we work. Okay? We put so much time and energy in these jobs. And the next thing you know, we don't put that same energy into ourselves. Think about it. Think about it. So what are some examples of self-care? You can have a morning routine. You can have your skincare routine. You can have your nighttime routine. You can, and in that routine, like a nighttime, like I'm really revamping mine. I just put a chair in my room. I'm going to get me a footstool. I want to start reading at least 10 pages at night. I don't want to stroll on social media. I really want to pour into myself. And not only doing meditation in the morning, meditation at night, meditation in the afternoon, whenever we see fit. Sometimes we have to take a break. Gotta take a break and pour into yourself. It's okay. This world gonna keep ticking. You gotta take care of yourself, okay? Take care of yourself. Tip number 4, expand your horizons and networks. Okay, and this is kind of like, I mentioned about, making new friends and things. Like, we're going to take a little bit further. Learn a new skill. Like, what I want to do in regards to my pivot, it's a new skill. It's a new skill. But I really have to put my best foot forward and channel it. You know what I mean? I have to channel it. So I want to challenge you in this new reinvention. Pick up a new skill. If it's a hobby, like I said, I talk about pottery. I told you that. Taking some classes, a little side project, whatever it is. As long as it's something good for your mental health. That's what's important. It has to be something good for your mental health. And it gives you an opportunity to meet new people. That's important. Important. You also, when you're networking, you're in a different mindset. You're not, in your 40s, 50s, 60s, even your 30s, in your 20s. You think about where you were in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and the type of friends you may have had. Some of your friends, you will have them throughout the whole duration. Because I do have some that you will have up through the whole duration. But you still want to gain new ones. I am thinking about getting a mentor. I was approached a couple of years back by one of a mentor. And believe it or not, she is still in my life. She's mentoring me in so many different ways that I never would have thought of. I'm thinking about new things, new avenues in my life that I didn't even think about in my 20s and my 30s. Not that I couldn't have done them then. That was just never on my mind. But I really realized some things that you can do in your 20s and in your 30s, sometimes they may not be meant for that time frame in your life. It might be meant for something in your later years. You know what I mean? Because you're a little bit more grounded. You know what you want. You know where you want to be. And you know how you want to handle things. That's in my opinion. Tip number 5. This one here is cultivate a growth mindset. Easier said than done. It can definitely be challenging because we are grown. And sometimes we don't want to let go of our old mindset. You got to let some things go. Some things can stay because they keep us grounded. But, just like I said, redefine, reflect. We got to sit back and see what's actually keeping us where we are. I was on social media. Let me see if I can get this. And I can't. Okay, I'm going to tell you what it was briefly. It was pretty much saying, sometimes we hold ourselves back because of what we're used to. In a nutshell, that's what it was in a nutshell. We get so caught up in not wanting to move forward because we are so scared. Prime example. This is for all of us. This is not just for, but sit back and think about how we sit and say, I'm trying to get my thoughts because I apologize. Sit back and think about how we sit and we say, we need more money. I wish my job would give me a raise. But then I know everybody is not an entrepreneur. And I think about myself. I'm gonna use myself as an example. I may sit and say I want more money. As comfortable as I am, I want more money. And you don't want to jump because you know you have that job. You know you have them PTO. You know you have that sick. So you know what you have. And you don't want to let go. But you know if you possibly let go, you can possibly make more money. Does that make any sense? I know I'm not saying it right, but we're going to get back onto that. But have a growth mindset. Have a growth mindset, a mindset that will allow you to not only grow monetary, but it will allow you to grow mentally, physically, and emotionally. Don't never stay where you are. So learn from your failures, stay open to new opportunities, and just thrive. Some practices that you can do for growth mindset, and I've started to implement this, and I've been sharing them on the YouTube channel, on the shorts, on We Age Graceful. Daily affirmations, reframing from negative thoughts, seeking, you want to seek continuing learning. For me, I'm trying my best to not let other things in my life wear me down. We all have issues. So just staying positive. Just staying positive. I know easier said than done, but I look at myself now and how I adopted a growth mindset. I was a very negative thinker. And here I am now. Do I fall into slumps? Yes, I do. I'm not perfect. But I try to get myself out as quickly as possible. So let's wrap this up. I hope I gave you some good, tips. I want to kind of recap those 5 tips for you and let you know that you can reinvent yourself and don't never sell yourself short. You have to live for yourself. Make sure yourself is good. You have to pour into yourself before you can pour into anybody else. And that's something that I felt to do. You know what I mean? So I want you to always know to pour into yourself no matter what. So let's go over these 5 tips. We want to reflect and redefine. We want to reflect and redefine your purpose. We want to embrace change and confidence. We want to focus on self-care and well-being. We want to expand our horizons and networks. I don't want to hear nothing. And we want to cultivate a growth mindset. Reinvention in your 40s is empowering. You know what I mean? Not only, we can keep doing this over and over and over again. Okay? Don't never feel like you have to stay where you are. No, but if you're okay with where you are in life, keep it going. But if you want something new, you want to start over, it's all about mind and on the inside. Okay? So, if you were new here, and you enjoyed what you heard today, I want to say thank you, and I want you to join the family. If you're watching on YouTube, join, subscribe. If you are listening on all the streaming platforms, if it's Spotify, iTunes, and iHeart, Pandora, wherever you are, because we are everywhere, honey. I want to say thank you, and I want to say follow. Follow for more, because I want to make sure that us women over 40 are taken care of, okay? Because as I'm aging, I am seeing the things that I yearn for. And I want to make sure that I have it. And I know I want to make sure that you have it. I don't say I want to make sure, but I want to make sure we have what we need, okay? Us women, okay? See you in the next episode.